All right, good morning and happy Tuesday to you out there. Catching up with Tommy Mac, brought to you by Team Tommy Mac, and live in the Florida Keys in Isle Morada. And our friends Jennifer and Robbie, I'm on their boat as well. Me and the whole crew are down here for the week. So we're going to report live from the Keys, and what a beautiful place it is down here. I know a lot of you out there have been down here, and it's a great place to vacation. If you're from up north, Illinois, Chicago, Boston, whatever, wherever you're at, if you've never been to the Florida Keys and you like fishing, especially you like boating, you like the water, it's a fantastic place. No question about it. Lots to get into today on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. We'll talk a little bit about the rookie minicamp. I wasn't there in the flesh, did not see it. But saw some of the videos and whatnot. Look, it's an exciting time. It's brand new, so, you can only see so much. I mean, look, Travis looks fast. He looks fast. I mean, he looks smooth. He looks great. Again, it's just running around in shorts, so you can only tell so much. But, look, Ridley looked great. Brian Thomas looks great. So it's going to be a fun time, no doubt about it. We'll get into that. The schedule's going to drop tomorrow. It's already leaking. We know who the Jags home and the Jags away games are. Looks like it's the AFC West and the NFC West that we'll contend with outside of the division. Should be a really good schedule and hopefully a good, I know on the way trips, get you out to Vegas again, Denver, San Fran, and whatnot. And we'll go through that. We'll take a real quick look around the National Football League. I keep seeing these reports about Trey Hendrickson, the star defensive end of the Cincinnati Bengals. Him and the Bengals cannot come to an agreement. Supposedly, he's getting, he's going vocal on Twitter and whatnot. And he's basically saying, look, they promised me that we would look at my deal. It's come back around, and they don't want to look at it and don't want to pay me what he's worth. So I threw it out there, and I'll say it again. You add Trey Hendrickson to the Jaguars, your defense is Super Bowl caliber, potentially, no doubt about it. I know people are throwing Asante Samuel Jr. out there. Listen, I love the guy, and I know he's coming off neck surgery. He took a visit to the Saints. Wish him the best, but you drafted Travis Hunter. We don't need any more corners, right? That's what you drafted him for. He's a number one corner. He's a number one wide receiver. So I'm not adding any more corners, but I would add more pass rush. I mean, look, Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker, they're a good duo. There's no doubt about it. Emmanuel Ogbah, who we grabbed in right after the draft, I love the addition. But you add a guy like Trey Hendrickson, he's your number one pass rusher, without a doubt. He is absolutely fantastic. And you don't maybe need to use him as much, in the run game, in the running downs. It gives you flexibility. I think back to like the Giants in their run, to the Super Bowl. They had that pass rush. They had 3-4 really good pass rushers, and you need that. Now, the McCloy kid from Auburn, maybe he's that change of pace, and he can get after the QB. But I'm telling you right now, and this is no disrespect to the current guys, but you add Trey Hendrickson, he's your best pass rusher immediately. He's better than Josh Hines-Allen. He's better than Trayvon Walker. But those three combined, oh my gosh! And then throw in Ogbah, you're talking about a quartet of some serious defensive ends that can play the game at a high level. So for me, look, and we're going to talk about Trevor because I think everything they're doing on offense, it's all about Trev, and I get it. I understand why. But for defense, you got to have this pass rush top notch. And I know we've added some people. Maybe that it does come together, but you want to ensure it. Go get. You want to be bold, James Gladstone, Mr. Bold. Go get fucking Trey Hendrickson and immediately make your defense a Super Bowl type caliber type defense. In my opinion, without question, he is that kind of player. But we'll take a look at that as we already did. Chris Berman staying at ESPN. We've met Chris many times. He'll be at the J Fund, Tom Coughlin J Fund annual dinner and golf, which is Sunday and Monday. He will be there. It looks like he will be 50 years at ESPN now that he's signed through 2029. And I see where Rich Eisen making a comeback to ESPN. ESPN bolstering up their lineup, man. Good for them. I like both of those guys a ton. So we'll look forward to that. And, of course, you look here in Jacksonville on offense. I'm telling you, everything they're doing is to ensure as much, I guess that's the word of the day, to make Trevor successful. Everything they're doing on offense, whether it's adding weapons, changing your running back room, which I believe they're going to if these two rookies work out the way they think they're going to work out. The tight ends that you've brought in, the kind of tight ends. I will say, and I've said it before, to really ensure Trevor's health is to keep him, upright. And I know Wyatt Millum is saying the right things, and I look forward to him in pads and what that means. But why you wouldn't ensure that your left tackle and your right tackle were just top notch? Now, we'll see what happens. But I thought about this morning. Well, isn't that why they brought in the Hunter Longs of the world, right? To be that tight end, maybe go out for passes, of course, but to help protect my QB. I mean, look, I wanted to tackle just because I want him to take care of that rush. I want him to take Trey Hendrickson on and be like, all right, you're going to win some, I'm going to win some, but I'm going to keep you at bay for the most part. And you're going to, maybe, you're going to hit my QB on occasion, but I'm going to win too. You got that kind of left tackle. When you don't, you got to keep the tight end in. You got to chip the back, and which means it takes them out of going out for passes. But at the end of the day, you got to protect the QB. Everybody does. But whether you look at the new running backs, which I think these two young guys have every chance to be the two guys. I really believe that. Look, again, they want to win as quick. And by the way, I heard the interview with Tony Baselli on 1010XL with Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony and Dylan Denmark. Great job, guys. It was great. Tony sounded great. Look, whatever. It's a way to increase popularity, and everybody should be excited about the new regime and the new direction and where they're going. They absolutely should. So, but you look at I even think the Gabe Davis release has got something to do with Trevor. Now it works out that he would be maybe your fourth or fifth wideout, but why? And maybe his health isn't there. That knee they say might not be ready. So I get why they did, and I'm not complaining because Gabe underperformed big time last year. I'll go back to Mitch Morse's comments, though, about all he said, being the perfect, tone setter, locker room guy, all that kind of stuff. And, I hear that. I'm like, okay, well, maybe they got rid of him of more than just football, right? You're going to eat $20 million in dead cap money. Why not just wait? And I know it's a post-2-1 cut, but why not just wait, see if he can come back, see if he can return to form of some kind, or what I believe part of it, and I don't think all of it, but part of it, I think, is that we got to keep everything positive around Trevor. Those two had a spat, there's negativity, maybe bad juju, whatever. Maybe not personally, but just from a football standpoint, let's cut that out of here. Let's make sure that Trevor Lawrence, all we can do for Trevor is set him up to be successful. We know Trevor's got to work on his game. They're going to work on that. But we also know that we had to upgrade around him. And I think you've done that to a certain degree. I would have liked to see a little bit more, but you've definitely added to Trevor Lawrence, and to make sure that he can have as successful as and not just a season, but these next few years. Because that's the window, right? The window's, the window is as long as our quarterback's good and our pass rush, right? Back to Hendrickson, I'm giving him a 2 or 3 year deal. That's it, man. Whatever. Give the man whatever he's worth. I don't care if he's more than anybody else. He's worth it. Keep him, let him come in on pass rush downs. Let him come in and get after the QB, man. I'd take another double, digit sack guy, for our team. And I think that's what's going to be heavily needed. I still have concerns about nose, but I'm willing to see. I want to see Mason Smith in year 2. Oh, good water, I tell you, man. We got after it yesterday. Holy cow! You can get caught away down here in the Keys. There's no doubt about that. But pass rush and the QB, man. That's what we got to make sure that we are at top of our game. With that, and look, and with Trev, we all know he's got every physical needed to be very successful at the QB position. It's what's upstairs, and I think, and I only think this because of what I've heard from Baker about those pre-snap recognition, making it simpler. I think that's for any QB to understand where I'm going with the ball, at least initially. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I know, there's 3-step, 5-step, shock and what have you. I'm getting the ball out because I know exactly where I'm going, because the guy should be open based on what the coverage is and based on what we called. So you have those reads, that pre-snap recognition, which I think will be huge for Trevor. And then you got to just fix the bad habits that he's gotten into. throwing flat-footed, throwing off his back foot, leaving the pocket way too early. I get it. I get it. He really got rattled. And it happens. We've seen it happen to the best, even with Mahomes. But, look, and I think that's what they're doing. And if I'm James Gladstone, I mean, you're not, he's your guy. I mean, you're kind of stuck with him, although you like him. I know we all do, and I do too. But you are kind of stuck with him because of the contract. So what do? Well, we're just going to make him better. We're going to make sure everything around him's better, make sure he's as comfortable as he can be, and then we'll hold his feet to the fire after that to make sure that he's doing what he has to do, in order to be a successful QB in the league. So, you like boats, Tim? Yeah, boats are cool. This boat's a pretty cool boat, man. Although I whacked my head on it last night looking for keys. Ooh, let me tell you something. Thank goodness the Lord gave me a big fat head because it hurt like a son of a gun. Didn't cut me. Thank goodness. And I'm not wearing a hat because there's a lump, but it hurt pretty good right there. I grabbed the hand. I was like, whoa, and nobody was out here either, so thank goodness I was okay. But nonetheless, I like boats too there, Tim, and thanks for watching and listening. All right, so the season games are out. We don't know how they're placed just yet. Jeremy, no, I don't. He's not a bust. Trevor's not. And I know. Look, I'm really critical of him. I am, but he's not a bust, and you can win with him. You just gotta hone him in. You gotta hone him in. Quarterbacks shouldn't miss routine throws. They shouldn't. Like almost never. Okay, and that's one of my concerns with Trev. Like he'll make these outstanding, drop it in a bucket like he did to BTJ in the Miami game in the opener to guys wide open, and you just miss him. Like it's out of his reach or too high or too low or whatever. And those things are most of the time because of the bad habits. Not stepping into the throw, throwing flat-footed. I mean, you even heard Trevor say, I got to flip my hips like. No kidding. Everybody has to flip their hips. I mean, when you're in a fight, you don't stand like this and try to fight. You're turned one way or the other. When you play baseball, right? Same thing. It's that hip getting in there. So, and turning those feet. So, once he gets those handled, and that's going to be the job of Liam Cohen and company, and then calling the right plays for him, then he'll be good. He'll be a good quarterback. Everyone calling him this top 10. You guys are so insane. Whoever out there, I know you're on Twitter, you're like, oh, he's top 10. He's not a top 10 QB. You're out of your fucking mind. He hasn't shown that at all. Does he have the physical tools to be one? Of course he does. But he's not one. All right? He's got a lot to prove, and I hope he does. And I think what they're doing on offense is really to make sure that he is absolutely taken care of. And then it's going to come down to him, and it should. When you're getting that kind of contract, which doesn't kick into 2026, but you're guaranteed that money when you listen. It's your show, and you better show up. And I hope he will. I think having a child might settle him down a bit. Listen, I don't care about the past anymore. But you heard rumblings that he wouldn't come in on Tuesday. He didn't study enough at home. There were things like that. Whether you want to believe it or not, I don't really give a shit. But those are the rumblings that have been happening with Trevor. So hopefully that changes, and I think it will with Liam Cohen. The accountability is going to be there, and including in the QB, without question. And I think it will. And I think, look, we all want to win. Nobody playing in the NFL doesn't want to win, but it's a matter of, are you willing to pay the price to win? Or are you just going to do enough to where maybe you win, maybe you don't? You know what I mean? There's a big difference. It's all up here. And preparing that body, making sure you're in great condition, and then knowing everything. And you got to know everything. I was bitching and moaning all last year. How many times the mistakes? You don't make mistakes in the NFL. You're an NFL player. That's your job. You don't make mistakes. You don't do these, illegal formation shit. You don't jump off sides. You don't make these dumb, I've run the wrong route, don't know my coverage. Like, how do you go out there and not know what you're doing? But I think that's going to change. I think that's what's going to be a big change. And I've said it all along. For me, it's all been about the attitude. It hasn't always been the talent. I think we've had enough talent. It's just about the attitude and changing that set. Okay, just showing up ain't going to work. It'll never work in the NFL. You're not good enough. Even Travis Hunter, he's not good enough. I know everyone's fawning over him. That's great. I'm happy for everybody, and I'm looking forward to seeing him with my own two eyes. live on the grass, as they say. I want to get on the grass. I love these little words we throw out there. When he gets on the practice field, I would look forward to seeing him out there. No question about that. Looking forward to seeing the other guys too. I know Liam praised Jack Kaiser, the linebacker out of Notre Dame. I'm looking forward. I heard the Paul Posluszny comparison, and man, you better be. Paul was a badass linebacker, man. One of the best ever to play for the Jags in the history. Just everything you wanted out of middle backer. So I don't know if Kaiser's that. For his sake, I hope he is. I hope he is as good as Paul Posluszny. And we're so quick to throw out comparisons and whatnot. I've heard Justin Jefferson for Travis Hunter. Great. Wouldn't you love that? And now we're going to see at corner. I'm still waiting to see how I think that whole how we're going to, that flow, that chemistry is going to work on defense with him as my corner, Travis Hunter. When I play him, where I play him, how I play him, and how I keep the other side, the other coaching staff guessing, so they can't figure us out. Like when he's in there, we only do certain things. You can't have that. Because they'll figure you out and they'll find a way to hurt you. So I'm interested to see that. But again, if you don't have the pass rush, I don't care. He ain't locking nobody down. Nobody locks anybody down anymore. It's hard. These receivers are just too big, fast, and strong. You can't. I don't know who's a lockdown corner, like a true lockdown, where you literally just take number one out of the game, right? Is Jalen Ramsey that anymore? I don't think he's that anymore. I think he was at one time. But that's a tough job, and that's what I was saying even on the radio on Friday. I've been saying it with Travis Hunter. Like, look, if he could take number two out of the equation, their number two receiver, like Campbell used to do with Dion, he'd be like, all right, we'll take Dion and put it on the number two receiver, and then we'll just double number one, and we don't got to worry about number two, and number one's doubled. If he could do that, then it's like, yeah, this is. Then you don't have to worry about playing. You have to worry about playing a chess match a little bit, but you don't have to worry about, this big chess match. Because why? Because he's just going to take that guy out. He's going to cover that third of the field or whatever it is, and I don't have to worry about that. Well, you can't do that, number one, without a pass rush. So the pass rush has got to improve. We think it will, but you got to be able to affect that QB, and I don't care which QB we're talking about. If you let him stand back there, he's going to burn you. Like we've seen in the past. All right, Jags home games for 2025. It looks like we got a little AFC West, and we drop in a little NFC West as well. So we got Kansas City at home, Chargers at home, the Rams at home, Seattle at home, Carolina, and then our three division opponents in Tennessee, Houston, and Indy. So good home, man. I like that. See the Chargers, see KC come to town. Rams are out. That'll be interesting, right? The little reunited, and hopefully it doesn't feel so good for the Rams because we beat them up and win that one. Jags away. We got the division opponents, of course, Tennessee, Indianapolis, and the Texans. Throw in the Cardinals, the Bengals, San Francisco, the Raiders, and the Denver Broncos. We'll see if they can repeat with Bo Nix at the helm. I mean, look, you could probably go down the list and say this team, that team looks better on paper. We for sure look better on paper. And then it's all a matter of putting it all together on the field. But you got a couple cool away trips. San Fran will be cool. Although they say that city's all beat to hell. Although I haven't been there. I'm sure there's still some good parts. Vegas and then Denver. Denver's a cool little city. No question about that. But that's a good schedule. How do I feel? I don't know. I gotta look at this team and I gotta see it in person. I gotta get on the grass and feel the energy, feel the mojo, feel exactly what's happening. Look, you can get fooled. We know this. I'll never forget. I was just thinking about this the other day. After 2007, when they had that good year, I think it was 07, 08. It was 07 or 08. Anyway, the next year, I think it was 07, and then 08. And I remember at camp, Vic Ketchman used to cover the team. Great man. Tommy, this one this team is loaded. You watch out, and they weren't very good. They just didn't put it together that next year. So you just never know. Looking good on paper is one thing, and then obviously, executing and getting the job done. I like what Tony Baselli said. We're not going to cost ourselves football games. We know that happened the past 2 years. I don't get it. I don't get it. Doug, people say he checked out maybe. Maybe he checked out when he figured out his way was not working. I don't know. But, we move on and we see if Liam Cohen can get the right guys. I think them bringing in their guys, the kind of guys they're looking for, that's always the battle. Making sure you bring in the kind of player, right? They say they want guys who love football. I know what that means. I was a dude that loved football. My whole life was surrounded about playing football, which was awesome, which was incredible. But you got to love the game. And not just love the game, but love the work. You love the grind. The grind doesn't bother you. Like, to me, it was funny. I was just talking the other day to a former athlete, and we're talking about, he's newer to ending his career, life after the sport he played. And, it's to me, it was easy. It was hard to make it, but once you were in, what made it easy? Well, it was easy because it was black and white. You were in shape, you worked on your game, you got to stay healthy, of course, and then you be productive and you're a good teammate. You can stay forever. They love guys like that. They don't want guys like that to leave their locker room. Guys that work their ass off all the time, that don't bitch and moan, that just do their job. That it's the greatest job in the world. But you gotta love what you do with it. Like for me, I go to the gym. Fucking love going to the gym. I still do. That's part of my makeup. Go run sprints. Are you kidding me? Let's go to the beach and run sprints. I'd be like, I'll take my shirt off. We'll get some sun while we, work on the bronze while we're, running up and down the beach. I used to work out there all the time, that grind. But it wasn't a grind to me. It was great. It was so, simplistic. If you did well, they praised you, and you stayed around. If you couldn't perform or didn't perform, they got rid of you. It was pretty simple stuff. But you got to have guys that really dive into that buy into that know. I mean, look, everybody wants to go to the Super Bowl. Every year the Super Bowl pops up, and you're like, damn, I wish I went to the Super Bowl. Every one of us, and the guys that did, hats off to them, because that's phenomenal. But you still look. I know I still look back. I'm like, gosh, damn, we're so close, to the Super Bowl twice, and it always stings on that day, because you imagine it. Like, you imagine going to the Super Bowl, playing in a Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl. I mean, that's just the ultimate, right? And we hope our Jaguars can get there. That they've got enough juice to get there. I think they're lined up good. I do. I mean, I'm excited, but I'm just cautiously optimistic. People that, they're like, you don't seem that excited. I'm like, look, I feel like we've been burnt before. You know what I mean? I feel like this is, now this is new, so I'm excited about the newness. Don't get me wrong, I am. I'm very excited about it. But I'm just cautious about it, because I know, talk is cheap. On paper don't mean nothing. Let's just see it. It's all open-minded. It's all for them to win. I want them to win so bad, for you, for me, for the city, for everybody, for business, for everything. Everything's better when they win, and it shines a great light on our great city when our Jaguars do win. So hopefully, this is it. But I'm not going to be bought into the hype. We did that. I mean, come on. Was it last year, 2 years? Oh, they're going to set records. They didn't set shit. Okay, it was coming from inside the team, too, and on the field, like the players, like, oh, we're going to set records. You're not setting shit. You didn't do shit in the whole scheme of things. I don't care, so hopefully, look, winning cures it all, right? You only win when you win. I wish I could still play, because it's the greatest thing ever. There's no doubt about that. So look, I think they are bringing in those kind of guys. I think they're surrounding themselves with the right kind of people. I get what they're doing with Trevor, and I kind of figured it out myself, as far as like, well, why didn't you go get the left tackle? Well, think about it. Okay, Walker's fine, right? He's okay. He's not a dominant, but he's okay. And then we get tight ends like Hunter Long to stick around and help block, like a Mercedes Lewis, that type, right? That you would. I hope that sound's not coming from me like I hit a button. But that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And then look, hopefully they're, you got the protection there. You added the weapons. Now go get another. And look, I like Emmanuel Ogbah. I do. And I love Trayvon Walker. Josh, I really like Josh. I love him. He's a great player. But he needs to do more. Last year wasn't good enough. I don't care about pressures. I don't care how close he came. He almost had him. No, you're paid to get double digits. You're paid to get 15 sacks a year. You're paid to be a major disruptor. And at 4-13, I don't think you could call anybody on that team a major disruptor on the defensive side of the ball. How many times did our defense give up the game? How many times? Even with the lead. And credit to Trevor in the offense or whoever was playing back. They'd come back. They'd go ahead, and then our defense would give it up. They'd give up a long drive or give up a big play or just totally screw it up, being out of position, all that stuff. So you got to fix that. And I think adding a guy like Trey Hendrickson's a no-brainer. And you were very bold in doing what you did for getting up for Travis Hunter. And great. And I hope it works out. I hope he's MVP, Rookie of the Year, Player of the Year, what have you. By the way, I'm still going back to what Liam says, that the passing offense goes through Brian Thomas Jr., and I truly believe that it does. I do, because we don't know about Travis running all the routes yet. We don't know about that yet. You know what I mean? We don't know of how he's going to take a shot when he does. We know Brian Thomas can. Brian Thomas Jr. is a phenomenal route runner, can run all the tree without hesitation, and that means without gathering your feet, looking like he's going deep every single time. He can catch it over the middle. He can take a big hit. He's got yak. You know what I mean? You saw that out of Brian Thomas Jr. Too bad our offensive coordinator didn't see it early enough last year. Might have saved his ass in a job, but we saw what kind of player he was. And let's be honest, when he first got here from LSU, we thought with Brian Thomas Jr., oh, yeah, we're going to send him deep. And he is. He's a deep threat, but he's also a complete package, complete wide receiver. Is Travis Hunter? Maybe. We don't know yet. And you're not going to get there. I have a tough time believing, unless he's Tyreek Hill, I have a tough time believing that he's just going to outrun everybody and, nobody's going to hit him and all that kind of stuff. I just, until I see it, I just don't believe it. So I want to, see him be able to, make those tough catches and then surprise the people, because you can't double both. You can't double both. You're not going to be able to double both guys. You're gonna get burned. Everybody else is going to be somebody. You double both, somebody's wide open. So you better be an all-out blitz. You better be bringing 8 or 9, because you're going to make that quarterback just make a quick decision right away. But if he has even an inkling of time, you're done. You're done. They're going to find the open guy, and we're going to move the ball down the field. So, I still, for me, I'm going through Brian Thomas Jr. And then, of course, with Travis Hunter. I mean, if he's everything he says he is, and you can really set him up one-on-one, right? Really set him up one-on-one to embarrass that guy who's trying to cover him. Oh, a little fishing jumping. You're a little hungry, are you, out there? Looking for food, man. Looking for food. I'm getting ready for breakfast myself. I'm going to chow down after a big night. There's the flag. See that? It's beautiful. It's beautiful down here. But look, if they get those kind of situations with Travis Hunter, it's going to be great. It's going to be electric. And look, one of the greatest routes you can do as a fast receiver, other than beating someone deep, is the crosser, because not many guys can catch up. Right? You give that little shake and bake, and boom, right as they're on your hip. Right? I'm going this way. You're going to at least be a body away, and if that ball is put in just arm's length, you're going to have to dive to tackle me, because nobody's is that good to be able to go stride for stride, move for move in the open field, especially with guys like Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter. Get those rub routes going, get those cross routes going. And I do think a big advantage this year for our offense, on top of all the moves, is nobody has Liam Cohen and the Jaguars personnel on tape yet. All they have is Tampa. And these guys aren't dumb enough to just go, verbatim with what they did in Tampa. They're going to take a lot of it. That's going to be their base, their foundation, and their core. But it's, they're going to add a bunch of wrinkles. They're going to add different stuff, because you can't, we've seen that before when you're predictable. So they're going to have to do all that. And that's a good thing, because they got to figure us out. Now then year 2 will be interesting because it'll be like, it's like rookie quarterbacks. They do great that first year, some of them, and then they struggle after that, or they struggle the second year. Why? Because defensive coordinators figured them out. I always say, you got to beat the game plan. You got to beat the game plan. You got to beat that game plan against you. And when they can really game plan against you, right? You know that you got a chance, right? How would you game plan? What would you say that, like if I'm game planning Trevor, I know what I'm doing. I'm getting pressure up the middle because he's going to bail. And then I'm going to make sure he doesn't get outside the pocket, right? However I can get that pressure. If my D-line can do it, or I got to send blitzers, but he'll bail. At least last year. I mean, you saw it the last 2 years. He'll take off in that little whoop-de-doo out the back door, And he's good at it from time to time, but if you game plan it, it's not going to work, Disguise in the backside safety, I guarantee you they do that. They see that he doesn't read that very well. But again, Liam's here to change it. All I keep hearing, he's going to fix him. Doug said he was going to fix him. Now Liam says he's going to fix him. And I don't think fix is the right word. I just think hone. Because the kid's got all the talent in the world. You just got to hone him in, right? He should be on a trajectory like Josh Allen, in my opinion. And when there was some comparison there still is. The way they play the game. But you got to hone it in, just like the Bills honed it in for him. And I guarantee you he put in a shit ton of work to get there. So hopefully they get that. So on offense, it's all about Trevor. On defense, I'm telling you right now. Now, if the kid from Auburn is what they say he is off the edge, okay. You can never have enough pass rush. But I'm telling you right now, you go get Trey Hendrickson, and you have possibly the number 1 pass rusher in the league. He's that good. He's that good. He's a 17, 15. And then to me, like he's towards the end of his career. Like, okay, guess what, Trey? You don't got to play first and second down unless it's 1st and 20. We think they're going to pass or whatever. You're going to come off the bench and be our pass rush specialist. We're going to slide Trayvon down, right? Can you imagine having? Let's see, you got Josh Hines-Allen, Agba, right? Or the big dude, 6'8". Oh, I can't think of his name. If he made more plays last year, maybe I would. I don't know. You know who I'm talking about? Why can't I think of his Armstead, Eric Armstead. Either him, then Mason Smith, or Trayvon inside, and then Trey Hendrickson. Dude, I'm telling you right now, you just made yourself a Super Bowl caliber defense without question, in my opinion. So go be bold, James Gladstone, and go get yourself a true number 1 pass rusher. And I tell you what, it'll be absolutely fantastic. What's going to happen to ETN? I think ETN is probably gone somehow. Either I don't know if they're going to trade him or. I think they really covet speed, and he's fast, but he's just not lightning fast. They want a home run hitter. That's why they went after the kid with 4.3 speed, who, Tootin, who I think is going to be your lead back. I think they like Tank. If Tank didn't drop the ball, we may not have looked so hard at a running back. But I'll tell you the reason they grabbed the kid out of Q's is because he can pass block and he can go out for passes. And both those guys, ETN and Bigsby, not good at picking up the rusher. Not good. Getting run over, missing him, not knowing where he's coming. I mean, just too many times. And you can't, again, back to what I'm saying about building around Trevor. I can't put a running back out there if he can't pick up the blitz. You can't. You can't have it. You can't put your quarterback at risk. He can get hurt, as we all know. So you got to ensure that too, right? How am I ensuring my left tackle? The Hunter Longs of the world. How am I ensuring my running back? I draft a kid that can pass block. So if I was Bigsby especially, I'd make sure my pass blocking game's up to par, without a doubt. And then I think, after that, I think Tootin's going to be your lead back, and I think the kid out of Q's is going to be your 3rd down back, and then probably Bigsby in a spelling kind of role if this kid Tootin can really carry the rock. Word on him is he puts the ball on the ground. You cannot have that. We know this, so hopefully that's not the case. because that'd be a big swing and a miss if you got a kid that can't hold on to the rock, and you took him. Now it's 4th round, so it's not that big of a deal overall. But I'm looking forward to seeing him. He looks good in the uniform. He does, man. He looks really quick. Got good feet. I saw some of those videos. Looking forward to seeing him out there. But nonetheless, it's going to be a great year. I'm excited for it all. And looking forward when I get back. I think this we come back Friday or Saturday. I'll try to do this again on Friday before we leave. And if we stay an extra day, it'll be easy for me to do it. But looking forward to it. Hopefully there's some new news and notes. There's always something to talk about with our Jags or with the National Football League. This show, of course, brought to you by Team Tommy Mac. You see Azar sausage, whether in your favorite dish or in a bun. Azar sausage is the one. Make sure you check them out at your Winn-Dixie stores. You get thrown in jail, my man Chris Lucero will get you out. Him and his team on 24/7, ready to help you in a time of darkness. They are a shining light. 904-822-2245. Carpet Man Flooring, home of LVP. Carpet Man's LVP. Carpet Man's got more than LVP. Got all types of covering for your floors at your home or at your business. All at the highest quality and all at the lowest prices. Make sure you check out carpetman.biz. Salt Air Inn and Suites, a boutique hotel right there in Atlantic Beach. Great for a night stay, a weekend, or a week. If you're visiting from out of town, visit saltair.com. Code Ninjas has got a great summer camp for your children. Get them out of your hair this summer into tech camp where they can learn all about technology, security, roadblocks, Minecraft, building games, and going outside and getting some exercise. They do it all at Code Ninjas, now with 5 great locations in Northeast Florida. Go to codeninjas.com. Morgan & Morgan, you know who they are. They're the largest personal injury law firm in the entire free world. More resources than they know what to do with. What I mean by that is when you get hurt, you call them because they can handle all the cases, any case, for the people. That's right, for the people.com. Love having them on board. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. The J-Dog, owned and operated by veterans, U.S. veterans. They're absolutely fantastic. I've had so many people use them and say what a great job. So if you're like cleaning out your house, you're moving, you just need a shed, clear it out, whatever it is, let them take care of it because they'll take your junk, they refurbish it, and they give it to the veteran families that are in need. Check them out at jdog.com. They are a great group, no question about it. Newmark Phoenix Realty Group, the #1 commercial real estate firm in all of our land in Northeast Florida and beyond. They handle all aspects of commercial real estate, including development and sales, investment sales. So check them out, 904-399-5222 or phoenixrealty.net. Family Tradition Specialty Foods, home of Coconut Joe's hot sauces. I tell you, the Sriracha is my favorite. The Pineapple Ghost is my second. But all 4 are absolutely incredible. They win the Scovie Awards. They're some of the top hot sauces. They're on our table. They should be on yours. Go to Family Tradition Specialty Foods.com. The Baracus Group, yeah, they're there for your protection. They're there for your safety, for your business, for your home, what have you. You need personal protection. You just need someone to kind of check out your building at night to make sure nobody's messing around and doing anything they shouldn't be doing. They have a response call team that's very rapid, and they do a great job. Check them out at bgsjax.com. Absolutely. I got to go to my notes real quick because ADD, CTE, and all that good stuff comes into play. Of course, Freedom Finance, my man Courtney Myers. If you need a fractional CFO, he is the guy to do it for you. And I'm talking whether you're early stage, you're trying to get to the next level, you're trying to take another step, let Courtney come in and be your fractional CFO. He'll handle all your bookkeeping, your forecasting, and your fundraising. He will help you out with that for sure. Make sure you check him out at freedomfinance.com. And I think I got him all. How about that? Not bad after taking a hit to the head. I had to look at my notes. Just one. Crystal Sales Bail Bonds, Carpet Man Flooring, Morgan & Morgan, J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling, Azar Sausage, Code Ninjas, Salt Air Inn and Suites, Newmark Phoenix Realty Group, Family Tradition Specialty Foods, Freedom Finance, and the Baracus Group. All part of Team Tommy Mac. Always there when you need them. And trust me, members of Team Tommy Mac use each other's services, and it's absolutely fantastic. I love when I hear, hey, I signed my kid up for Code Ninjas camp. It's great. Or, hey, I need a Carbon Man phone. They came in. Hey, can you connect me to Chris Rosero? Hey, can you... Great. That's what I do, man. I connect people and I promote them, and we do it all through catching up with Tommy Mac and everything on social media. So until next time, stay safe out there and please stay cool. And let's go Jags. Looking forward to this off season continuing, and looking forward to more time in the beautiful Keys. Thank to the Brush family and all of our friends who are down there, Santaverse included, just having a great time. All three girls are here. The band is back together. Me and my wife are absolutely just having the time of our lives. We hope you are too. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Peace and love, everybody. Have a great day.